everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the streaming Wasteland here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each Friday I pick three streaming services and pick a film previously released on off of each of them, and hopefully by the end of this episode, you have a nice whole weekend worth of movies to go check out. And for this particular episode, I'm going to be focusing on Amazon Prime Video, Paramount Plus, and Mac streaming services. So, wanted to gear this episode more towards some older films, and we're going to start with Amazon Prime Video and turn the clock back to 1955 as we go back a whole 60 years, 70 years at this point, and look at the film Marty. And this is a Best Picture winner, which is such an interesting thought that a film like this from director Delbert Mann, with a screenplay from Paddy Chayefsky, which that certainly will do it for sure with some quality writing and impressive talent behind it. But this did indeed win Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role for Ernest Borgnine, Best Director for Delbert Mann, and Best Screenplay from Chayefsky. So this really did lean in and win some big awards. And it's such a simple idea. A middle-aged butcher and a school teacher who have given up on the idea of love meet at a dance and fall for each other. This film, as well, is a nice lean 90 minutes and really sets up this charming and endearing love story that is simple, it's honest, and navigates both of their aspects of their perspectives that make it hard for them to really believe they have found somebody special and deserve it. And Ernest Borgnine, who, depending on your generation, he might be Mermaid Man from SpongeBob SquarePants for you. Evil! Or, being in films like The Dirty Dozen and films like that, The Wild Bunch. But here, he is a very earnest, charming man. And you just love Marty. He's such a nice guy. He is the kind of guy that you want to get behind and think he really does deserve that happiness. And the fact that he has this woman who popped up in his life, you're all about it. And you want to support him, and hopefully he's happy. And you have Betsy Blair, who plays this teacher, and they have great chemistry. You really care about them. You have some strong supporting turns from Joe Mantell, who plays in the film, who wound up being nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this film. This is just a charming, earnest, just beautiful little gem of a film that does it all right and really makes the most out of quite the simple premise and really defied the odds and became a big Oscar winner. And that's something endearing and something special that you could really latch on to. And this film is such a delight to watch. So, it's what we're here. I certainly recommend it. Now we're going to move up in time, almost 20 years, to 1973, and we're going to talk about Serpico. And this is a cop drama, a procedural drama from director Sidney Lumet, based on the book by Peter Mass and the screenplay from Waldo Salt and Norman Wexler. But the biggest element of this film, starring Al Pacino, and this was part of his legendary string of 70s films, including The Godfather, Serpico, The Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon, and Justice for All, that really put him in a place where he went from just this young Italian American actor on the stage to the most recognizable and highest class actors in all of film. And the 80s weren't exactly the nicest for Al Pacino due to a lot of his own choices, destructive behavior, and alcoholism. But the 70s, this was legendary. long before we got Pacino, and who leaned into these big acting choices. You have him here as this good cop who is stuck in a situation. An honest New York cop named Frank Serpico blows the whistle on rampant corruption in the force only to have his comrades turn against him. And Frank here, beard, long hair, Pacino just channeling this energy as Serpico. And there's an earnestness to him. There's something about him that we want to get behind. We care that he wants to clean up the force. And he is somebody we can idolize. And Pacino gives such a layered, emotional, authentic performance. He really embodies this cop who's been in the thick of it and really been through so much and now is trying to do the right thing and is being persecuted for it. And this film is such a poignant story about police corruption and really navigating the complexities and the pitfalls of somebody who decides to whistleblow in a situation and then has the whole entire world coming down upon him. And Pacino nails this. It's very interesting because years later, about 25 years after this, Pacino would wind up being in The Insider. He's the one helping the whistleblower, but really channeling that kind of experience. And here, Pacino is the whistleblower, giving one of his best performances. This is the kind of performance that any other actor, this would be their crowning jewel. And this was just a part of a handful of just incredible performances from Pacino in the 70s. This film is very 70s. Sidney Lumet directs the heck out of this. It is purposeful, it is crisp, it is done impeccably. And Sidney Lumet really understood how to work the camera, how to stage scenes, and make the most out of this story filmically and engrossing the audience and really driving the story and themes home and delivering such an impactful, poignant, and engrossing experience. Serpico is definitely one of those 70s films for sure, where filmmakers were taking chances. Lumet had been directing for a few decades up to this point. He is not one of those new Hollywood directors, but here he is taking on a story that, taking on police corruption and presenting a challenging narrative. And it really is effective. And lastly, we're going to head over to Max streaming service and we're turning that clock back quite a bit to 1923. And we're going to be talking about the farcical slapstick action comedy Safety Last. And this is from director Fred C. Neumayer and Sam Taylor. But most importantly, this is starring Harold Lloyd, one of the big three great silent film comedy acts of the time. You have Chaplin, you have Buster Keaton. They're the two that probably get the most publicity out of the three. But Harold Lloyd was up there. Chaplin had the tramp. Buster Keaton, old Stoneface himself. But Harold Lloyd had an energy, a charm, a naturalism, a very humanistic approach. He is a kind character with a big smile and big plans. He's just a boy from small country town, and he goes to the big city trying to make it big, making money, becoming successful so that the love of his life, Mildred, will played by Mildred Davis, will marry him. So he goes to the big city and tries to make it big. And there are plenty of shenanigans and farcical situations and just impressive physical gags that are set up throughout this film. Obviously, the big one, hanging from the clock tower, is one of the most iconic and just absolutely insane stunts. Having somebody hanging from a clock tower, but how this was all set up, how it works so perfectly, where it built a real sense of danger and shock value. I think Safety Last does a great job of balancing, hey, here's the earnestness of why we are caring about this boy, Harold, and this girl, Mildred, and them being able to be together. We want to buy into this because Harold Lloyd is so charming and sweet and kind, and you just see a smile on his face, and we trust him. And you have scenes like the clock tower where this is death defying. This is life threatening kind of levels of things. And it's just wild to watch a film from so long ago. This film is over 90 years old. And that is absolutely wild. This film is more than 90 years old. It's more than 100 years old. And that's what's so insane about it is that it works so well. The comedy still hits. That physical action-based comedy is something that stands the test of time because you don't need cultural reference, you don't need language, you just need to see some crazy things going on screen, and that's exactly what Safety Last is. And it's plenty of gags, it's silliness, it's a love story. It balances these things so well. This is a wonderful experience that really shows just how far along film had come by 1923. And this is a nice, lean 74-minute romp that has some romantic charm and plenty of crazy physical, slapstick, farcical humor that will fill up this experience and, deliver such a good time. But those are my recommendations, and that is a wrap on another episode of the Streaming Wasteland. Let's do a little bit of summation. We have over on Prime Video, we have Marty from 1955. Over on Paramount Plus, we have Al Pacino in Serpico from 1973. And lastly, on Max, we have Harold Lloyd's Safety Last from 1923. But make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. Let us know what's your favorite classic kind of Hollywood romance, or what's your favorite police drama? And do you enjoy some good old fashioned slapstick? Who's your favorite? Is it Chaplin? Is it Keaton? Is it Harold Lloyd? Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. We have so much content coming your way on the SPM crew, and it's all types of variety. And we're always looking for new collaborators and partners in crime here at the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. So if you have an idea for a podcast or if you want to come on one of ours, please feel free to reach out. But lastly, if you like our logo, make sure to check out High Flyer Creative for all their digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.